Spoiler alert, I'm going to talk about Euphoria, so if you haven't seen the last episode, don't watch this. And my unpopular opinion about Rue Bennett's death is that I actually think that this is one of the only things that Sam Levinson got right in season 3 of Euphoria. I understand why everyone wanted Rue to have a happy ending, but you cannot always have a happy ending with a character like Rue. And I think that not giving her that happy ending actually serves as a beautiful learning lesson. And I don't say that to sound pessimistic. I don't say that to sound bitter. I don't say that to claim that addicts cannot find a path to a better life. I don't say that because I don't believe in hope, because I very much do. I say that because Rue Bennett, first and foremost, this is a girl who's involved with a pimp who also sells drugs. She's also involved with a gang of Nazis who also sell drugs. She is in no way, shape, or form doing anything to hold herself accountable against relapsing. Okay, matter of fact, she's surrounded by it. She is surrounded by it. She's not going to AA. She's not going to NA. I'm not saying that you have to do those things to stay clean, because you certainly don't. But there is no structure in her life other than her friends, like occasionally shading her, that is stopping her from relapsing. Okay. On top of that, she has very little connection to her family. This girl doesn't have real community. And before you guys are like, okay, but what about her friends from high school? That's not real community. These are disjointed friendships that serve her on occasion. Yes, these people love her. Yes, they care for her, but they are also not responsible for her. So we have this unfortunate series of events and circumstances. And on top of that, she was working with the DEA. And her boss knew that. If she didn't pass away in the way that she did, she would have gotten whacked. I don't know if I'm just like the only person who watched The Sopranos, but like, she was gonna get whacked. She was not gonna like live through that. My truth is this. It actually makes a lot of sense that a person in Rue's position would not care too much about staying clean. And I know that sounds confusing because she was sleeping at her sponsor's house, and she had previously stayed clean for a while, and she seemed to be putting herself in a slightly better position. You know, she was like turning to religion, which can be very helpful for addicts, and she was trying to be honest with her friends. Yes, all of these things are true. At the end of the day, her habits, it hasn't been enough time for Rue to truly improve and build a foundation of healthy coping mechanisms. So when Alamo gives her the bottle, we then cut to a scene of her getting her hand stitched up. What's her facial expression? She's like, I think Rue was high as fuck. And she, yes, maybe was taking what Alamo offered her for the pain, but just because something suddenly does serve an actual purpose in your body, that doesn't mean that it isn't fun. That doesn't mean that it doesn't feel good in other ways, right? My theory is that Rue took more than she was supposed to take, or more than she was advised to take. Now, of course, I could be wrong. That's just the vibe I'm getting based on her behavior that we saw leading up to her death. Especially the death scene itself, like the sounds she's making, the facial expressions she's making, a lot of them are sounds and expressions of pleasure, because what she was taking will make you feel real good. And if she wasn't spacing it out correctly, if she was maybe, again, taking a little more than she knows that she should have, especially with, you know, its natural effects compounded with the fentanyl, it makes perfect sense that she ended up passing away. Now, of course, I could be reading into it too much, and maybe she really did take the medicine correctly as it's supposed to be taken. But I also think the unfortunate thing for someone like Rue is that it takes a certain level of structure, help, self-awareness, accountability for you to be able to take something like that, something that is not properly prescribed to you either. This was not something that she got from a pharmacist, right? She was not supposed to be taking this. Bottom line, I think it's very hard for a newly clean addict to be like, yeah, I can do this. Especially if that's something that they've struggled with before. To sum it all up, I don't think that she innocently took that pain medication. Now, of course, in explaining my perspective on this, I'm not saying that she deserved to pass away. By no means do I think that Rue deserves this. It's more so, On top of the other things that I've already said, her working with the DA, her working with two different groups of people who are selling narcotics, her on top of that just lacking community. Yes, she has Ali, but you know, she didn't. Rue had been given so many chances to get better, and she didn't. And it's not to say, again, that if you have a similar story to tell as Rue, that you can't get better yourself. You 100% can. I just think that Rue and her story and where her character ends up, it's sometimes, you gotta have something like that on occasion. Like, one of my favorite movies is Trainspotting, because it shows just how brutal addiction can be and how death will come knocking at your door if you keep playing around with your life. Rue continued to play with her life. And maybe it wasn't always with the substance itself, but with the people that she hung out around. I never thought that that girl was going to make it past 25. Her death is devastating because it's not surprising. Her mother and her sister couldn't bear to have a relationship with her anymore because she was that much of a, I don't want to call her a burden, but she was that self-destructive that her own blood relatives could not stand to have a relationship with her. And people are surprised that Sam Levinson killed her. I'm like, I have friends that have gone to really, really, really dark places because of their addiction, and they've been able to return from that. But it took so much hard work for them to get there. And I don't want anyone to watch this video and be like, oh, Chloe, like, you know, I'm in a similar position myself, and now I think, like, oh, maybe it doesn't matter. No, like, it does matter. Your life does matter. But you have to take care of yourself. And everything that she was doing goes against that. Everything she was doing. Every choice she made that season was a bad one. I mean, I literally cannot think of, I mean, maybe not every single choice. I'm sure she, like, drank water and brushed her teeth in the morning. But, like, she was setting herself up to fail. Specifically having the relationship that she had with Alamo. So I'm not surprised that she's no longer with us. I mean, we're talking about a man that, you know, if a girl crosses him, he sex traffics them. I mean, we're not talking about, like, just some dude. This was gonna happen.